Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're going to unpack this really powerful set of ideas called critical theory. You can think of it like a special toolkit, right? One that helps you look at the world around you, not just to see what's there, but to really start questioning it.
Okay, let's just dive right in with a question for you. Think about, the last show you've binged, or that song you've got on repeat, maybe even the clothes you're wearing right now. Do you feel like those choices were completely 100% yours? Or, and here's the kicker, could there be something else, kind of these invisible forces, shaping what you like and what you believe?
Well, to even start answering that, we need a totally new way of looking at things. And that's exactly what a group of thinkers back in Germany, way back in the 1920s and 30s, decided to do. They were like, look, it's not enough to just describe the world. We need to start asking why. Why is it like this in the first place?
So here's where we see the big difference, and it's super important. One of the main thinkers, a guy named Max Horkheimer, basically explained it like this. Traditional theory, it's kind of like a scientist in a lab coat, just observing things from a distance, trying to be totally objective, just writing down the facts. But critical theory, man, it rolls up its sleeves and gets its hands dirty. It doesn't just watch society, it gets in there and actively questions everything, trying to pull back the curtain on all the hidden power stuff and injustices.
And that really gets to the whole point. See, critical theory isn't just some dusty academic thing you read about in a textbook. No way. It has a real mission. Its goal is this idea of social emancipation, which is really just a fancy way of saying it wants to help us build a more just, a more fair, and a more free world for all of us. And it does that by showing us what's holding us back.
So the folks who pioneered this whole way of thinking are known as the Frankfurt School. And you gotta understand, their work didn't just pop up out of nowhere. I mean, look at this timeline. These guys were living through some of the most insane political crises of the 20th century, fleeing Nazi Germany. That experience completely shaped their worldview and made their work feel incredibly urgent.
All right, let's crack open this toolkit, shall we? Our first tool is all about questioning common sense. This is the big one. It's about learning how to see those invisible forces we talked about by taking a hard look at the ideas we just accept every single day without even thinking. This quote just nails it. The core idea of ideology is, well, it's when one group's way of seeing things, their specific perspective, gets passed off as the truth, the only truth, for everyone. It's that feeling of, well, this is just how the world works, when really, it's just one point of view.
Okay, so here's a great way to think about it. Imagine ideology is like a pair of invisible glasses. You don't even know you have them on, right? Society just kind of hands them to you when you're born, and they put a filter on everything you see. They make the way things are right now seem totally normal, totally natural. Like it's just common sense. But what's really going on is that those glasses are designed to benefit the people who are already in charge.
Okay, check out some of these examples. The idea that a work ethic is just a universal good, or that some family structures are more natural than others, or that buying more stuff will make you happy. I mean, these things feel totally normal, don't they? But this is where critical theory steps in and asks that one simple but super powerful question. Who actually benefits when we all just accept this stuff is true without even thinking about it?
All right, tool number 2. Let's pull this one out of the box. This one is all about picking apart the culture we swim in every single day. You know, the movies, the music, the shows, the whole shebang.
So, remember Adorno and Horkheimer from the Frankfurt School? When they came to America, they started noticing something weird. They looked around at the movies and the pop music, and they thought, hang on a second. This doesn't feel like art anymore. It felt more like stuff being cranked out on a factory assembly line. Everything was starting to feel kind of standardized, you know?
And they gave it a name, the culture industry. Here's how they said it works. It takes real, creative, maybe even challenging art, and then it flattens it out. It sands off all the interesting, rough edges, strips out any tough social questions, and repackages it all into the super predictable, easy-to-swallow formula. The whole point isn't to make you think. Nope. The point is to keep you entertained, passive, and maybe a little bit distracted from what's really going on.
And this quote from Adorno really sums up the end result. The culture industry's big trick is to turn us from being active, critical thinkers into, well, passive consumers. We become acquiescent purchasers. Basically, we just become people who are ready and willing to buy the next thing, to stream the next show, without ever really questioning it.
And this chart just lays it all out crystal clear. Look at the difference. On one hand, you've got real, authentic art. Its goal is expression, maybe even critique. It's supposed to make you think. But the culture industry, Its goal is profit and making sure everybody kind of thinks the same thing. One is unique and challenging, the other is standardized and formulaic. Basically, one wakes you up, and the other, as Adorno put it, just kind of lulls you to sleep.
Okay, so I know what you might be thinking. This stuff is from like 100 years ago. What does it have to do with me and my phone right now? Well, let me tell you, it has everything to do with it. Just think about your own life, the culture industry and ideology. They're on steroids today. You've got social media algorithms that are literally designed to shape what you see and what you think is important. You've got streaming services that trap you in these bubbles, just feeding you more and more of the same stuff. Viral trends that pressure everyone to act and buy the same things. It is the culture industry on a scale that those Frankfurt School guys probably couldn't have even dreamed of.
But here's the thing, and this is the hopeful part. This whole toolkit we've been talking about, it really gives you just one, incredibly powerful way to see through all that noise.
And it all boils down to this one simple question. That's the master key. Whose interests does this serve? Anytime you see a new trend, a new blockbuster movie, a new policy, or just one of those common sense ideas everyone seems to agree on, just stop and ask yourself, who benefits from this? Who wins if I just accept this without question?
Because the moment you start asking that question, you're not just learning about critical theory anymore, you're actually doing it. You're using the toolkit, and you're taking that first huge step towards seeing the world not just as it is, but as it could be. And that, right there, is a kind of power that can change absolutely everything.